don't get what they were trying to do with this album. There is too much contrast between the old songs and the new songs. It would have been better to just make another mini-album with the new songs, instead of putting it with their old campy, quirky Japanese releases. The album starts off with 2 Velvet concept mature songs, and then completely abandons that concept for the rest of the album. The transitions from Wildside to Sappy, and from #cookie jar to snap feel too abrupt. This could work if they would make the concept of the album something similar to RBB, where the songs are very different on purpose. But here, the concept seems to be built around Marionette and Wildside. So I really don't get why they added their previous Japanese releases to the album. Overall, this album doesn't make much sense as a project, and listening to the tracks, in order it feels like too many albums mixed together. You probably expected the Red or Perfect Velvet to be here, but in my opinion, the order of the tracks on both of them could be better, mostly on Perfect Velvet. I have this issue with a lot of their other albums too. For RBB, I don't have any complaints. The concept of this album is over the top and maximalism, and I think the album does it really well. It is meant to have an incohesive or inconsistent sound, which is what I like about it so much. And it is what ironically makes it their most cohesive album for me. I love that every song is different from the last, and it makes this album a very fun listen. The competition was tough, but Rich Man is definitely their least cohesive album. There is no concept, and the songs are not related to each other in any way. With Girls and Armageddon, there were 2 types of songs that could be interpreted as Kwangya versus the real world. But here, they completely abandoned the Kwangya concept, so they couldn't even do that. This album feels like if SM chose songs blindly and called it a project. It hurts me to see aespa releasing this type of album, knowing they have previously released one of the best K-pop albums to date. Arguably, the best album by a 4th-gen group. Every song stays in the electropop type of sound, but the album still manages to sound diverse, and every song fits the futuristic Kwangya concept. I love the way the tracks are ordered. Energy is a great intro, and I love that the album ends with a dreamy song that still stays true to the concept. I could talk for hours about this album. The only word I have to describe it is perfect. SSERAFIM's albums are kind of underrated. Like, there isn't really any album that I could say feels messy or doesn't make sense, not even crazy. For least cohesive, I chose Easy because the intro Good Bones feels out of place. It is a rock genre intro, and is very fast-paced, which makes you expect the rest of the album to have a similar sound. But then the rest of the songs are all laid back and are all slower. I also think that switching Smart and Swan Song would make the transitions less abrupt, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Overall, the album isn't that bad. I just find that the intro makes the album feel confusing. Sonically, the songs on Fearless all have a similar vibe, but are still diverse. The album executes the storytelling very well in my opinion. It starts off with the intro, where they say that they will always stay true to themselves. Then in the second track, Fearless, they continue that by announcing to the world that they aren't afraid and are strong. In Blue Flame, they talk about having a strong desire for something and reaching for it even when it's unknown. And it is sort of a continuation of Fearless. After that, we move on to The Great Mermaid, which mixes the songs before it and the song after it. They talk about how they don't need someone's love and are doing great on their own. Or you could say they somewhat fear or deny love. In Sour Grapes, they talk about wanting to love someone, but knowing that they will end up getting hurt. They admit to being scared to love this person, but still wanting it. The Fearless album does a great job at progressing from the members being confident to showing their vulnerability, and I think it is a great introduction to the group. The album starts off with a royal concept song, Blue Blood, which sets the tone for the rest of the album. Then we move on to the next song, I Am, which also has this sound. But then Kitsch comes in and completely ruins the vibe. It isn't related in any way other than the fact that the lyrics are about self-confidence. Then the rest of the album forgets about the royal concept completely and is mostly made of mid-tempo pop songs. Every time you think there are a few songs in a row that sound cohesive, a song with a different concept comes in and completely ruins it. For example, Hypnosis and Kitsch. Lyrically, it's not bad, with the first 5 tracks focusing on self-confidence, and the rest being about confidence in the context of being in love with someone, except for Shine With Me, which is a slower song about vulnerability to close the album. But you can't take a collection of songs about the same topic that don't tell any story and call it an album. It feels like there is no thought or intention behind this album. I think we've all watched Wintrussy's video on this album. If you haven't, I highly recommend that you do. And for now, I'll sum up what he said. The album is made up of pairs of songs, TKO and Flu, Rebel Heart and Attitude, and Thank You and You Wanna Cry. TKO is a clap back to haters, and Flu is a song about being stuck in a toxic relationship and knowing that it's bad for you, but still wanting to stay in it. So basically, the 2 songs together are on opposite sides of the spectrum of empathy and focus on different levels of confidence. The next pair is Rebel Heart and Attitude. Both songs are about self-confidence and are also about empathizing with people who have had similar experiences to the hate I've received. You can see this in the bridge of Rebel Heart. You Wanna Cry and Thank You are both more vulnerable songs, musically and lyrically. They're about Ive empathizing with themselves, looking back in their career, and showing more vulnerable sides of them. This album is sort of a checkpoint in Ive's career, with the members looking back and being ready to move forward with confidence. I like that You Wanna Cry and Thank You are in the middle of the album. It's a good way to show that on the inside they have vulnerability, but on the outside they show their confidence.
너의 심장 위에 뿌리 내린 순간 뻗어나가 깊게 이 노래가 들리니